Well, it's been almost 5 months since we bid goodbye, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye to Vince McMahon as chairman of WWE. They sent him out to pasture. Get the hell out of here. You ever seen a man say goodbye to a chairman that had no goddamn idea how to run his company and kept running it further and further and further into the ground, firing people, giving people bad gimmicks, and not having any goddamn idea of what he was doing anymore with the company he helped build from the ground up with people from other territories that were already established, and he just swallowed them up, paid them a whole bunch of money, and said, "Ha ha, come here and be part of my cartoon land." Once. I saw it once. But anyway, Triple H, Stephanie, and Nick Khan overtook WWE, and now they're running it, and putting their vision out to everybody. They can say professional wrestler, they can be wrestlers, they can go out there and be athletes, they can say other things, they can have Twitch, they can't have OnlyFans. Check out the other video that I did about that. But Triple H wasted no time. Okay, maybe he wasted a little bit of time because he did have to get on the phone and actually talk to people that weren't under contract to either New Japan, AEW, or just weren't interested in coming back. And he wasted no time, or a little bit, trying to bring back people, rehire people that were unjustly fired by Vince McMahon over the past few years. But how have these rehires gone? Have they gone good? Have they gone bad? Have they gone absolutely hit row? Kind of tipped my hand about how I felt about that. But anyway, let's talk about all of that, shall we? I'm John Rentham with my real honest thoughts on Triple H's recent rehires. Okay, so according to reports, this is from Russell Votes and a few others, and I put reports in quotations because, honestly, these can all be taken with a grain of salt. But there has to be a little bit of truth to this, given how some of these rehires have not gone over well. Some have gone over like a fart in church. Others have gone over like a lead balloon. The red balloon becomes the dead balloon. Could have not foreseen that. Didn't think you were going to get a reference to the critic on this show, did you? It stinks, it stinks, it stinks. Yes, Mr. Sherman, everything stinks. But there are a lot of people that have been rehired. But according to these reports, there are people within WWE that, well, they feel that Triple H's rehires have either underperformed or have severely underwhelmed since coming back to the company. Now, if that's true, and I can't argue with some of them, and that's going to happen when you bring people back, when you bring people in, when you introduce people on NXT TV. That's going to happen in any company. AEW, New Japan, Impact, MLW. I mean, for the people to watch MLW. Even some acts that were in Lucha Underground, back when Lucha Underground A was good, and B didn't feature Jake Hager as a goddamn world champion. That was pretty much a death nail. The whole point is, there are going to be hires that just don't work out. However, you take a look at this list and you have to question why some of these people were brought back in the first place. Yeah, make good, because they were unjustly fired. But there were also some that you could argue weren't that good to begin with. And maybe, oh, cool, they came back. And yeah, I didn't really miss them that much to begin with, it turns out. But if people in the company feel this way, say Triple H feels this way, and say he's upset and they're in danger of possibly being released in the coming months, maybe right after Mania. I mean, who knows? As of this recording, none of these talents have been released. So watch half of them be released by the time this video goes up. But here's the question, though. If everybody's upset, who hired them in the first place? Oh, Triple H, because he's running creative. He's also, able to be the guy to bring people back. I mean, sure, Stephanie and Nick Khan probably had some say in it because they're the three-headed Hydra dragon. And actually, that's fitting for Stephanie because she smiles like a fire-breathing dragon. Like she's about literally ready to scorch you. Like she's the ultimate magic-spelling golden axe. Yeah, anybody remember that? Beat up that goddamn little gnome or whatever the hell it was to get those magic potions to come out of him. And man, that side-scrolling was a little bit weird. But enough about Golden Axe. Does anybody remember the Golden Axe games? So nevertheless, who brought him back in the first place? Oh, right. The genius Triple H. He's not a goddamn genius. Papa H. Please stop calling him Papa H. What the hell is wrong with you people? What do you mean, you people? No Hulk. No. God damn it. He's just going to do it again. Get the white paint because we got to cover up the trailer again. God damn it, Hulk. But yeah, he rehired him. Yes, sure, there were probably some people in the company who were like, hey, if you're bringing people back, maybe bring them back. Maybe do this. Triple H has a good relationship with some talents. He's not much better than Vince in this sense. He's going to have his favorites. He's going to have his people he wants to push, and that's every goddamn booker, creative mind, person running a company. They're going to go with what they know. And that's fitting. You go with the people you trust, you go with the people you know, you go with the people you think will work. But we're going to look at this list. By we, I mean I'm going to look at this list and you're going to chime in because you can't actually look at my list. You can't really, I mean, honestly, you wouldn't even be able to read my handwriting. My handwriting fucking sucks because evidently I never developed any handwriting skills past the 6th grade. But I kid. Let's go through the list. Karrion Kross, this isn't in order. Karrion Kross and Scarlett. Now, I gotta be honest, when they gave Karrion Kross that BDSM gladiator ball gag gimmick thing, whatever the hell that was, Lord Humongous, I don't know what the hell they were doing with that, and he was quickly fired. Him and Scarlett were fired. Now, okay, it is what it is. He was gone. I don't even think he was gone a year. I mean, it might have been close to it. But he was brought back and all right. I mean, him and Scarlett have a good look as far as a couple, fitting that they are a couple. But seeing Kross's work outside of WWE, it reminded me, you know, maybe Kross just doesn't translate to a WWE audience because already he feels just marginalized. Not that he really should be pushed in the main event because he's really not all that great, but him and Scarlett, they're going to get Scarlett in the ring. They're going to have her do stuff. Okay, whatever. But has their return really yielded any interest? A lot of interest? Not necessarily. If Scarlett gets a chance to wrestle this time around, that's fine. She looks good, and I've seen her work on some indies, like I've seen some matches. She's not bad. She can hold her own. She's no Mildred Burke or, Prime Trish Stratus or Prime Lita or Prime really anything. She's not even Optimus Prime broken down. But that sounds like I'm dumping on her. She isn't bad in the ring. And if she gets a chance, that's fine. But I don't see this working out. I could see by right after Mania them being released because this is a pretty underwhelming one. And then we get Dexter Lumis. Okay, you could argue that Dexter Lumis probably has been featured the best. I guess? This thing with Gargano and Miz has been terrible. But they featured him all over TV. He's been basically doing pretty much the same thing he did in NXT. I mean, he hasn't been that underwhelming. I haven't really cared much for a lot of stuff that he's done, which isn't his fault. And the whole thing with Miz has just been terrible, and they've been trying to dig themselves out of it, but they're stuck in a moment that they can't get out of here. You've got to get yourself together, and I forgot the rest of the words of that U2 song. Dexter Lumis, I don't think has been that underwhelming. I think he's been fine. Candice LeRae, speaking of underwhelming, Candice can work. Candice cannot cut promos. But when they brought back Gargano, and I'll just lump Gargano and Candice together. When they brought back Gargano, they were going to bring back Candice. Cool. Okay, they're a couple. They're happy. Triple H sees something in Johnny Gargano, who has been signed, who was signed with that company for quite a while. Did everything he could in NXT, and then left. And let his contract run out, I think, February of this year. And then was brought back, and Gargano is fine in the ring. Actually, he's pretty good in the ring. I've seen all I need to see of Gargano, though, and Gargano and Candice and Dexter doing the whole way stuff that I didn't find all that entertaining is going to divide audiences. Gargano and Candice have just meant nothing to me. But I get why they have their fans. One that I just don't understand why they bothered to bring them back is Hit Row. Okay, I didn't care much for Hit Row even with Swerve, and I liked Swerve. Giving him a group wasn't the problem, it's just giving him this group. Ashante Diadonis actually can work. He's not too bad. B-Fab just wrestles like a newborn baby deer, or moves like a newborn baby deer, and I'm sorry, this Top Dollar is terrible. He is terrible. The rap gimmick, oh I hate rap, oh rap is crap, oh I hate rap. He's not good. This whole group isn't good. Without Swerve, they are dead in the water. They did that one rap intro and haven't done it since. And they're embroiled in a feud that doesn't... They aren't good in the ring. Adonis, you could do something with. You can't do anything with Top Dollar. B-Fab is a lost cause. I know that they got released because shortly after they got called up to the main roster, and that was bullshit. But Vince McMahon's bullshit was AEW's game. Swerve has been killing it for the most part in AEW, even though they have so many people, it's kind of hard to fight for TV time. He's been doing good, though. Had they been able to bring him back, you know what? Swerve wouldn't have been able to do what he's been doing in Defy, killing it there in Seattle, and being able to do other appearances and just generally being what he is, one of the best wrestlers going today, one of the prime people, that any company would want to have. It just Hit Row. If Hit Row lasts past Mania, I will be amazed. And I always say till Mania because I think that that's fair. This company could keep these people. They could hire 20 more people. It's not going to affect their bottom line because they're making more money than ever before. And they're going to continue to make more money, despite the fact that the ratings for USA Network and Fox have basically fallen into a goddamn ditch, like somebody left on the side of the road and kicked over. Like, or like the fishermen that got hit. And I Know What You Did last summer and then came back from the dead, and what am I on about? I don't know. Hit Row just means nothing. They mean nothing, and if they were to be released after Mania, I mean, come on, right after Mania, would it really matter? It's not like they can't get other work. It's not like WWE programming needs them. Speaking of not needing people, the Good Brothers, home of the Good Brothers, maybe take your order. Lazy ass Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. Ludwig Doc Gallows. I'm going to come up with something. I'll work on that. Not on the video. Gallows and Anderson. Styles likes him. This was basically done to appease Styles because he picked up an option to basically finish out his career in WWE. But let's be honest, was the vast majority of people wanting them to come back? They proved once they got released from WWE, Carl Anderson especially, that he's a full-on dick, especially when he made his agenda against WWE take priority over the fact that something was said, I believe by Sean Ross Sapp, who said about right after Daphne's death that the WWE sent an email out to talents that counseling is available, that kind of stuff. And Carl Anderson says, "Oh, they suck, bro." Like, yeah, Carl, you probably should have picked your goddamn spots, just like you probably should have picked, I don't know, maybe a different personality. Maybe you should have had a personality picked for you. Carl Anderson basically exposed his whole goddamn ass. He's not the only person, but good God. The Good Brothers have contributed nothing since coming back. Honestly, I would kind of be surprised if they're around after a year. Once Styles retires, which could be by SummerSlam next year, I'm not sure when his contract's up. Maybe he goes to Mania 40. He's almost got to be done now. When Styles is done in the ring, the Good Brothers are toast. And honestly, they're getting paid more money than they goddamn deserve. I understand that they have their fans, but I ain't one of them. And both of them are at least 40. I think one might be over 40. And none of them wrestle like they really goddamn care anymore. Speaking of not caring anymore, Braun Strowman. What else do I need to say about a guy that did pretty much everything, but and basically exposed himself as a goddamn idiot? Knocked the indie workers once the pandemic hit. Tried to control his own narrative. That didn't work. And scared off back to WWE. Probably for lesser money, but still. I know that people like him, and I liked him for a time. The whole I'm not finished with you thing with Roman. And he was over for a time, but now he doesn't mean anything. He hasn't meant anything, and I don't know why he's being paid at least $500,000, if not more, when he contributes nothing. He's got no knees left, and he's almost 40, and he's that big, and he's that much of a doofus. And he basically has just, again, exposed himself as a fucking moron. So he's definitely underwhelming. I talked about Johnny Gargano. Dakota Kai isn't underwhelming. I just feared that they weren't going to know what to do with her. Damage control is 50-50. I'm not getting into the whole thing that damage control is buried. I just think they could have been used better because, oh sure, Dakota and Io, as of this recording, are the tag team champions. Here's the problem. The women's tag team titles mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. You can put them in the main events. You can put them on pay-per-view. The women can have banger after banger after banger after banger, and they still barely know her, barely know her, barely know her, barely know her, and it won't mean anything. Dakota Kai, I'm glad she came back. She wasn't sure she was going to come back to wrestling, and Triple H reached out to her. That's good. I'm glad she got a chance to come back and do what she actually loves and is very good at. She's one of the few that actually hasn't been that bad. Bray Wyatt, It peaked on night 1. People like it. That's fine. I'm not saying Bray's a bad guy. I don't need to see this spoopy split personality stuff. I don't need to see it. So he probably got a hefty amount of money, I imagine. He's probably one of the ones that came back close to his own money. And I don't know. I'm not their financial guru. But I would imagine Bray probably got movie offers and probably got stuff, and maybe he should have gone to Hollywood because the stuff that he does is fitting for Hollywood. It's not fitting for one-take wrestling. So there you go. Now let's get to Tegan Nox. Oh, she hurt her ACL again. Okay, in all seriousness, look, Tegan Nox, I don't get it. I don't. I mean, I was a little bit upset or surprised, rather, she got fired because I thought she was finally getting in her groove. But then when she got released, I realized I didn't really miss her. And now she's only been back a little bit or whatever. I actually forgot that she had come back. And I'm sorry. I know she's got her fans, but she's going to be one of the underwhelming ones. She's not bad in the ring, but also the fact she had 2 back-to-back injuries and she's not even 30. I'm worried that her body is going to break down and she's not going to be able to contribute, like how she could if she was healthy. I just don't think Tegan really was a necessary hire. And even though I like Emma, and Emma's the last one on this list, I like Emma, and her and Moss get to spend time together since they're dating, and that's great. And Emma's talented, and Emma means nothing. And I know she just came back like a month or 6 weeks ago. Does she mean anything? No. She doesn't. She's like back to barely appearing on TV or getting beat in pointless matches or pointless angles. Yeah, you can't just automatically push everybody to the main event, but I'd say 70% of these hires have just been underwhelming to, just super underwhelming. And maybe Triple H isn't the genius everybody says he is. Who knows? Maybe Mandy Rose can be one of the rehires and they can actually do something to curb this amount of backlash that they're currently getting as of this recording. That being said, maybe Triple H can rehire some other people. Maybe he can fire Kevin Dunn. He can bring some other people in. Maybe Triple H can actually pull his head out of his ass and realize that some of the people in NXT that he thought were good maybe aren't going to work to a worldwide audience. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.